show you the system and acquaint you with the process to maximize your experience. The tools we will use today can be accessed by navigating your web browser to www.COBRApoint.renaissance.com. Once you have logged onto the COBRApoint system, you will see on the left-hand side of the screen 3 different radials as well as a column of search boxes. The first radial is the QB radial. This stands for Qualified Beneficiary. This is somebody who is going on to COBRA. The next radial we will not be using, but it stands for Special Plan Member. We would only use that if we were doing retiree billing. And the last radial is the NPM radial, which stands for New Plan Member. These will be all of your benefit-eligible employees or any new hires who become benefit-eligible. First, we will go over how to enter a new plan member. Make sure that the NPM radial is highlighted, and then you will click on the Add a New NPM button below the search boxes. This will take you to a new screen where you will see a number of outlined red boxes. This is where you will enter the individual's general information. Everything that is outlined in red is required. Once you have entered the information for this new plan member, you should verify that it is entered correctly. Then you will see below the mailing address a checkbox that says Use End Family Addressing for mailing. If this person has dependents on their insurance, you want to make sure that this box stays checked. If you know they have individual coverage, you can go ahead and uncheck this box. What this checkbox does is it will generate their general rights notice and address it to Mr. Smith and family if they have dependents covered. Otherwise, it will just address the letter to Mr. Smith. In the case that the individual you are entering is not enrolled in any of the benefits that the company offers and has waived their coverage, check off the box underneath their gender that says Has Waived All Coverage. This individual will still receive a letter in the mail addressing their active waiver. Once you have entered all the necessary information, you can click Finish on the bottom of the screen. A general rights notice will be generated overnight and will be mailed out first thing the following morning. Now, there are 2 ways that you can enter a new qualified beneficiary, or someone who is going on to COBRA in the system. First, I will show you the easiest way. If you know that this person is already entered as a new plan member, you can do a search for this individual on the home page. You will enter a few letters of their last name and click Search. This will bring up their profile page. This person will now become a qualified beneficiary, so you will go under the gender and check off the box that says Has Become a QB. Then, if you go underneath the mailing address, you will see a button that says Clone NPM Member to QB. Once you click on this button, it will ask you to verify the address before proceeding with the entry. Now, this is the easy way to start entering a qualified beneficiary. If, for some reason, this person was not entered previously as an NPM, then you will need to enter their information manually from the beginning. So now we will go back on the home screen. Click on the QB radial and make sure that it is highlighted. You are then going to go beneath the search boxes and click on the Add a New QB button. This will bring you to another screen where you will see the outline boxes again. You will then start entering the information for this new QB. Once you get to the bottom, you leave the pre-filled outlined areas as is. And you will see the premium coupon type is Coupon Book. You will always leave it as Coupon Book. Once you have finished, you can then click Next on the bottom of the screen. This is where you will enter the COBRA event information. Make sure if it is an employee you are entering that the employee radial is highlighted. Then you will choose the event type from the drop-down. You will select either termination, involuntary termination, loss of eligibility, whichever option suits the situation. Once you've selected this, then you will enter the event date. You will then tab out of the box and it will take you to the HIPAA box. This is where you will enter their date of hire or the date that this QB was first eligible for benefits. Once you have filled in this date, please tab out of the box so that it accepts the date. If you do not tab out of the box when you go to continue, it may generate an error message. Now click Next on the bottom of the screen and this will take you to the Plans tab. You will only add the plans that the QB was enrolled in at the time of their COBRA event. So you will click on Add New Plans, and you must add each plan individually. So let's start by adding the dental. First, choose the plan and then select the coverage level. So let's say that this QB had his spouse covered also. We choose the QB and spouse option from the drop-down. Once we've done this, we click Insert to add the plan. Then, if this person was also enrolled on the medical, we need to go through and do the same thing. Now, if this person had single-level coverage and you were not subsidizing any of the COBRA premiums, you would now be done at this point and can click Finish. But for this instance, you will need to click Next to add the dependents to the plan. Once again, you need to fill in the information that is outlined in red. Choose the relationship of the dependent and then fill in the dependent's first and last name. Now you need to add the plans for this dependent. Next to the General tab, you will see a Plans tab. Click on this tab and click on Add Dependent Plans. It will then list the plans that the dependent can be added to. Because the spouse was on both plans, you can check this box to select both plans and click OK to accept these plans. You would repeat the same steps if the QB had more than one dependent. Now at this time, if you were not subsidizing the COBRA premium, you would be finished and could go ahead and click Finish at the bottom of the screen. But let's say that you subsidize the premiums for this participant for their first month of COBRA. Click Next to get the Subsidy tab. Then click on the green circle that says Add a Subsidy Schedule. Enter the start and end date of the subsidy. The subsidy type will always be employer subsidy. You will choose whether you are subsidizing a % of the subsidy or a flat amount. Then you will choose the type of insurance that is going to be subsidized, for instance, the medical, dental, or vision, and click OK. If subsidizing more than one type of insurance, you will repeat those same steps until you have entered all necessary information. If you click on Next at the bottom of the screen, this will take you to the Letters Insert tab. If your plan is based in any of the states that are listed here, you must check off the box that applies. This will attach a letter insert in the QB Specific Rights Notice that includes any state-specific information. If none of these apply to you, click Finish. The COBRA letter will be processed overnight and mailed out first thing the following morning. Now, if we wanted to do a search for this QB, you can go to the home screen and enter a few letters of their last name in the search box and click Search. Here you can find the QB that you've entered, and it'll bring up their home page, their profile page. Here's where you can see all their general information, their event date, their last day to elect COBRA. There's also a Communications tab up at the top. You can click on that, and it will show you all the letters that are generated for this new QB. Now, because this QB was just entered and it hasn't processed overnight, we don't have any communications here. If you go to the top of your screen, you will see a tab that says Reports. I'm going to show you the reports that you will find yourself using most often. Mouse over Reports at the top of the screen and mouse over Standard Reports. Here you can pull a QB Summary Report, which will show you all QBs and what plans they are on, as well as if they are enrolled, pending enrolled, term pending, or terminated. You can also pull a Paid Through report to see which QBs are paid through a certain date. You can also pull a New Plan Member report that will show you the list of NPMs that you have entered. When you pull this report, you have the ability to enter a date range. So if you want to find out if you may have overlooked a new hire between the months of June through August, you can enter those as your start and end dates. The last report I am going to mention is the Remittance Report, which can be found under the Accounting Reports. This report will show you the COBRA premiums that we have collected for a certain month. It will show you the COBRA premium paid and the 2% administration fee. This report comes in handy if you want to do a comparison with the insurance invoice. Remember, Benefit Tax Link must be notified of all plan changes, as well as new plan rates, in order to make sure that the COBRA participants are enrolled in the correct plans and are paying the correct premiums. The employer is responsible for sending open enrollment materials to the COBRA participants and notifying us of plan changes that may have been made. When notifying COBRA participants of the COBRA rate, please be sure to include the 2% administration fee to the carrier rate. Please do not forget to notify your insurance carriers that we are the third-party administrators that handle your COBRA. And this concludes our COBRApoint